The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.
You're listening to
Wrestling to the Max.
Alert. Clear all channels.
This is an exclusive.
How you like that?
And your hosts, Gary Vaughan, Sean Garmer, and Paul Leeser.
Welcome, everyone, to Wrestling to the Max's Backlash 2018 review. And I, of course, am your host, Gary Vaughan. Along with me is your co-host, Sean Garmer. What's going on, Sean?
What's up, everybody?
And guys, we are so excited to be back in the saddle and rocking and rolling on this pay-per-view review. We want to make sure we give a big shout out to our friends over at 411mania.com and lastwordonprowrestling.com. They do a great job over there. And hey, make sure you go check out W2Mnet.com. That's the place where you're finding this podcast and a lot of other great podcasts on the Wrestling to the Max's W2M Network. That's right. That great network has got lots of other podcasts besides ours. They got, of course, another great Backlash 2018 review for you guys. And, of course, many other wrestling podcasts with other, podcasts that we like to promote all the time. You hear us talk about them all the time. Sports. We also have video games along with entertainment. And, of course, the world of wrestling is well represented. But, yeah, just besides that, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button over at Wrestling to the Max on the W2M Network. And once you do that, you get all our great podcasts in one nice place. And also when you rate and review, that helps us and it helps you. Well, Sean, we have a great show ahead of us. I'm excited about talking about Backlash 2018. I'm not going to say that, it was my favorite pay-per-view so far, but I think, we definitely have some things involved in this show that we can definitely delve into. But the first one, Sean, that I don't think we can really delve into a whole lot is the kickoff show match. I don't know if you agree or disagree, but Ruby Riott versus Bayley. I don't know, man. Not a lot there. Ruby Riott wins because of distractions. Big surprise.
Yeah, it wasn't too big of a surprise. It's not like Bayley's been winning, just a bunch of matches. And they did it once again where Bayley tried to bury the hatchet with Sasha, and Sasha said no before they had this match during the pre-show. So that might be the end of that. Who knows? I also want to say, since we were giving shout-outs, give shout-outs to our the SmackDown Live review crew, Harry, Brandon, and Liz. They did an alternate review of the show for you guys, too, that you can listen to. Should be on the same feed. Because it looks like, unless Patrick decides to have a change of heart, that Wrestling Unwrapped is over. So anytime that those guys do anything like that, it'll be on the same W10 feed. It'll just say something different. So don't be alarmed. But hey, you get two shows for the price of one. So not hurting you at all. So yeah, I think the match was fine. I didn't think it was anything you want to get too excited about. It was sloppy in some places.
Do a great job.
So,
yeah. And not only that, now that WWE is doing all their, branding together, it's no longer separate branding. There are all these pay-per-views are, co-branded.
What do you think of that commercial where they're just like, I guess they're fake singing into the microphones and all? It's so cheesy.
This is, okay, I love cheesy. I'm a big fan of the 80s. Everybody knows this if you listen to any of our podcasts. That's a little too cheesy. That's so 80s and 90s. It's not funny, and it's not in a good way.
Yeah, It's not even like that CD that they had them all sing their own songs or whatever. Mm-hmm. That's just worse.
I watched it and I kind of cringed, to be honest with you. I don't really care for it. But hey, if they ever did come up with another album where, different wrestlers sang different songs, I wouldn't have anything against that. This I kind of do. So, yeah. I don't know. But I mean, honestly, like I was saying, being co-branded, we have an opportunity. I do Monday Night Raw usually. I've been off for a couple of weeks, but I do that usually. And of course, Brandon hops on with me, and then of course, you got the SmackDown Live crew. So getting 2 review shows is a great thing for you guys out there. The reason being is you get everybody's word, and you'd also, get a chance to have one during maybe your drive to work, and maybe one at lunch or in the afternoon when you drive home from work, and you get all the information that you want from all the people that you hear week in and week out. So that's why we like doing them. That's why we give you 2. So, but yeah, I mean, I just gonna really quickly before we move on past this kickoff match, I do want to say, Sean, I do appreciate the fact that they're still trying to chug along with this whole Bayley and Sasha thing, and they're also adding the Riot Squad here just to give it some face time, right? Even though it's not on the main show, if you're a big WWE fan and you watch everything that they have to offer, you get a little bit more of that. And I do appreciate that part of it. But you know what? It's not important enough for us to spend a lot of time on it. So I apologize for anybody who was really into this. But, Sean, it's kind of hard to talk about because it's kind of the same old thing, same old time.
Yep, exactly. It is. I mean, I appreciate, again, the build that they've continued with this or whatever. But they need to, either do something or get out the pot at some point.
Yeah.
Just, it's there is something to be said for it being too long at some points. Mm-hmm. Just because you're trying to create interest in the women's division. Right now you can kind of coast along on the WrestleMania rematches, but now Money in the Bank, you can probably get away with that too because you're going to have, I'm assuming you're going to have 4 ladder matches at this show. I don't know. Well, I don't know if they've officially said that or not. We'll probably find out pretty soon here between this week's Raw and SmackDown if that's going to be the case. You're going to at least have 2. So, and they're probably, they're going to stick a lot of the men's, whatever the men they're doing, and they're going to stick a lot of the combined women's division stuff into that match too. So you can get away with that there, but just remember you got 6 weeks till Money in the Bank, so that's a lot to go on with this continuing. I have to think that they're building probably maybe to SummerSlam and that ends it, but I hope that's it. We can't keep going past August with this thing.
No, you're completely right. I mean, this does have to go to SummerSlam, and it has to be something that they get, when it comes to storyline, a lot better writing, a lot better content, because right now it's so soft and just light that you're just not into it. The storyline needs to be a little heavier. It needs to be a little bit more intelligent, in my opinion. I think they're doing a good job at least keeping it in front of our face, but make us want it in front of our face. Right now, I honestly could care less about the story. I know there's a lot of people that disagree with me, but I just don't care right now. And I like those 2. Those 2 have had great matches. Sasha and Bayley have been a big part of NXT, had some great stuff, then came over to the main roster and did what they've done. But I want to see something even stronger and even more intense. That's just my opinion. So, but yeah, let's move on past that because there's not a lot going on there. Let's go ahead and start out by talking about the big first opening match of the show. Seth Rollins takes on The Miz, and he's going to defend his Intercontinental title against the previous owner of it. And boy, Sean, I mean, this was Reversal Central. This was a false finish kind of match here. I mean, I in my personal opinion thought it was a really good opening match. I think they did a great job. They did a good job of telling me that Miz could win that Intercontinental title back, and it wouldn't be so unbelievable. But in the end, curb stop 1, 2, 3. Seth Rollins winning was probably the outcome. That's what happened. But I'm not disappointed, Sean. I kind of liked it. I enjoyed this match.
Oh, this is a great match. It was the best match on the show. It took 20 minutes to get there, but it was a wild ride the whole time. They never let down. It was just, I loved it. The crowd was nuts for this too, and they responded with the action. I mean, you had, Rollins pulling every trick out of the book to get the fans into it. Miz was great in cutting off some of those big moves. The 2 times he hit the skull crushing finale, especially the second one, which I kind of thought was did we really need that? Because I know that Miz's finish is not like, one of the end-all be-alls or whatever, but it's still kind of protected, and then you have to have him kick out of it twice. It's like, oh, okay. But still, I mean, I thought it was good that Rollins gets to win. They did a good job of making you feel like either guy could win, because Miz had his moments, like I said, and Rollins gets to keep it. And, if you happen to watch the Backlash post-show, he's taking it in stride and saying he had a great time making the IC title look as good as he has for all those years. Now he's going for the WWE Championship, saying that he has a Money in the Bank qualifying match on Tuesday. So, yeah, looks like Miz is ready to turn a new leaf. Rollins keeps being Monday Night Rollins, and yeah.
I sure hope that's going to be the case. Seth Rollins is going to definitely be a major focus on, what's going on over there on Monday Night Raw. They've obviously wanted to see more and more of him, and that's what they're doing. They're doing a great job of it, if you ask me, on Seth Rollins' part. The Miz, I'm really kind of curious if they're going to keep the momentum that he kind of had a little bit here on Raw. So him going for that WWE Championship belt, it makes me happy. I like The Miz a lot. I've said it plenty of times. I think The Miz has so much charisma. He's, good at what he does just in general. And I think that he can make a big splash and really help SmackDown. They've done some good things in the past, but they just have not been up to par where they need to be. And I think that he can really help. But, it's going to be kind of cool to see maybe in the future, possibly a match between him and AJ Styles. I would love it. Could you imagine the promos that The Miz would cut on AJ? That would be so much fun. I would really enjoy that.
Well, I mean, we saw that before, so we have that in our memories of when he first came. Remember, Miz was his sort of like the in-between opponent with Jericho. And yeah, I mean, now that AJ has gotten better at the promos, I think they'll even be more tantalizing if they get that feud.
Yeah, you're right. You're exactly right. So, I mean, right now as we sit, we see that we do have Miz in the picture coming, out of this match. I was kind of curious about him because him losing this match, which was a big possibility, I kind of thought to myself, oh, he may run into the sunset for a month or two to go home and be with his kid, but that's not the case. It seems like the guy is going to keep going, and he's going to head into Money in the Bank and do what he can. I hope they make him look strong. I think Seth Rollins will be strong. I think him holding the Intercontinental title is something that I really feel is not a bad thing. I know there's some people that aren't big, Seth Rollins fans, but I think he'll do a good job with it, and I'm really kind of curious to see who the next guy or guys, because I honestly feel like they're going to throw more than one guy at him for the Intercontinental title that'll be trying to challenge and really, see what kind of feuds we see pop up for Seth Rollins, because Finn Balor's been there and done that, so I don't know if they're really going to keep that going. I think there'll be some other opponents coming forward for that Intercontinental title.
Oh, yeah, sure. But honestly, I don't know how you can't be a Seth Rollins fan right now. The dude's on fire.
Oh, yeah.
You almost burn it down. He is really. He's taking his entrance theme and living it up right now. He's burning it down every time.
Oh, you're exactly right. And you know what? When they first had the burn it down part of that song come on, I thought, oh, come on. And then the crowd gets behind it. They love it. And you know what? It makes you want to get behind it. So when I hear the people screaming, burn it down, I'm like, heck yeah. It's ridiculous, but I buy into it as well. So good job on the WWE and getting that whole thing together and making sure that they had something snazzy. And Seth Rollins, you're going places, man. I'm really kind of curious to see where he goes from here. But yeah, you're right, Sean. You mentioned it. This was the best match of the night. I feel like there are some other matches that,
by a wide margin.
Yeah, they tried. That they really did their, I guess, hopeful due diligence. But yeah, so let's go ahead and move on to something else and maybe talk about some less exciting matches. This is definitely one. The Raw Women's Championship. Nia Jax is a champion. She took on Alexa Bliss. And, Sean, what they did here in this match was something that I figured they kind of felt like they needed to do. Maybe even I thought they needed to do. They let Alexa Bliss have a lot more offense in this match. It was more about her trying to, make sure that she could prove that she was just as good as Nia Jax. And sure, she got the upper hand. Nia kind of looked a little goofy in this match, if you ask me. She got a chance here and there to show that she was the powerhouse. Heck, she even won the match, but I don't know, Sean. I didn't feel great about this match. It didn't do anything for me. I don't really feel like it did anything for either of the women in the match. I mean, Nia winning, it makes sense, but I don't know.
Oh, that promo afterwards is awful.
Oh, Sean, I almost cut it off.
I wanted to gag. I'm sorry. So bad.
You don't know how close I was to texting you and saying, Sean, we're not doing a review show tonight. I'm not going to watch the rest of the show. I'm done. And just because that stupid promo, that you cannot be any more. It's just ridiculous.
It just sounded
to me,
like they handed her a piece of paper and, hey, say this. And then she was stumbling over the lines she was supposed to say. It's just like, oh, come on. Like, oh, awful. I'm sorry.
It's even really honestly what they should have done is what they did. They used Nia Jax as a PR person. They used her as that public relations person that WWE needs and wants to showcase, we're a great company and we include everyone and we hate bullies. They should have just let a PR person come out and say it instead of making Nia Jax have to do that, because I feel like Nia Jax at one time was really relatable. People liked her. They thought, oh, great, this is kind of a fun story. She's overcoming the odds. People are mean to her, but she's overcoming. Now that it's thrown in your face that that's what this is and it makes you sick to your stomach, I cannot wait till she loses that Raw Championship. In fact, now I don't even care about Nia Jax. And I don't mean to be like, personally. I'm just saying now the character is hokey to me. It no longer has the oomph, the power. I don't see her as strong anymore because she made herself look like she was, look at me, I'm just here for all of you. And that, I don't need that. I can go watch a movie about Gail Sayers if I want to be inspired.
You aren't wrong about that, but I think I don't know. The match was okay. I thought Alexa did a good job of making it seem believable she could win, but with the story they're telling with Nia right now, I think it'd be kind of silly to have her lose at the moment. So it seemed kind of inevitable that she'd win.
It did, and I don't know what they're going to do with Alexa Bliss following this. I mean, this means that she's out of the picture at least for the moment for the Raw Women's Championship, and that's fine. She held it for quite a while. It's okay that she's going to do something else. I just really question who that next opponent's going to be. Who is that next person that they're going to put up against Nia Jax? And with this hokey promo and what they've set Nia Jax up to be, it's got to be someone else who's pretty much a big bully. And I mean, I don't know if they have another strong, really vocal bully on this Raw roster for the women.
I feel like they're going to keep going for that exact reason. They're going to keep going with Alexa until they can find someone.
So basically, they're going to waste our time. Okay, so that's the way it feels. I'm sorry.
Like they haven't done it before, so.
Yeah, I mean, the bottom line is I just hate it for the Nia Jax because for so many years, and you can probably attest to this, Sean. From what we've seen from Nia Jax for a long time, she was always right there, always the bridesmaid, but never the bride when it comes to winning a championship. She had many NXT championship matches for the women. Then she comes to Raw. I think she had a couple somewhere and never won. Now she got it, and now it doesn't mean a lot to me because, well, the just how cheese this whole thing is. So, yeah, you may be right, but I am just really honestly right now disinterested in what's going on. And I hate to be that way. I really am, Sean. I don't know if anybody else out there feels like that, but to me, it is not doing them any justice to have her in this situation and what's going on here. So That's just my personal opinion, and maybe I'm going to get hate for it, but I just don't care what's going on with this whole thing. So, but yeah, I mean, I really there's not a whole lot more on that. I mean, I think both of us kind of said our piece on that, so we'll move on and of course gag as we have to think about that dumb promo. Of course, we have Samoa Joe. Of course, make a few comments and says, Roman Reigns, he's lost his confidence, and basically he's gonna take advantage of that tonight. And a little segment there, and then we had the United States Championship match between Jeff Hardy and Randy Orton, and this was an okay match. I will say, Sean, this was a match that I was a little distracted, at the house, just kind of hanging out watching it. It was a decent match. Nothing to go home and scream about, and, nothing to write your parents about, and let them know in the mail, this is a wonderful match. No, it's an okay match. This is one of those matches where you say, oh, it's a Randy Orton match. Well, guess what? It's just going to be there. It's going to be average. It's just, hey, but Jeff Hardy does retain the United States Championship in the end. What did you think about it? Like I said, I was not overly intrigued or anything by this match.
I thought the match was okay. I didn't think that this was again. I mean, look who you got in here, though. I mean, you got Randy Orton, and it just didn't have anything. There was no urgency in this. It didn't get out of like the first gear. This could have easily happened on SmackDown and wouldn't have known the difference at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally agree. Okay, let's just take this in perspective. Sean, you've bought many, many WWE games, and you know how they used to do it. I don't know if they still do it on these games, but back in the day, if you didn't push start or you didn't find something to play, they would just put a match on, and it would just play by itself. That's what this looked like. It felt like to me. It was just a random match, and it was just there, and it went through the paces, and it got the job done. That's the way I felt. I didn't feel like anything super spectacular happened to blow me away. You get the same stuff you see from Jeff Hardy, all the high flying stuff. It's fun. It's there. It's just Jeff. Randy Orton does his normal plotting right throughout this match. He plots, he picks his moments, and he does his thing. But besides that, I mean, you don't really have a lot of meat on the bone. And that's what kind of bums me out about this. I think Jeff Hardy against someone else, there might be a little bit more inspiration, especially for some of these younger talent on the rosters that we've never seen Jeff Hardy face. I think that's exciting. I think that's something that people would give more credit to a match like this, even though maybe it doesn't have anything super different. You'd at least say, oh, that was new, right? That was something special because it was the first time I've seen that. This was not that. And, once again, it felt like just your generic match. Like you said, Sean, it could have been on SmackDown, and we would not have blinked an eye at all. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder why they even did it. I mean, to be honest with you, Sean, I
know
they needed
just to give Jeff a title defense.
Yeah, but don't you? I mean, I guess Randy Orton needs to make his dates. I guess that's, and it's not. I just don't know.
And people like seeing Jeff Hardy, so I mean, why not?
Yeah, very true. Why not? I just, once again, I wanted to see something different, and that's not what we got. What we did get, though, in this show was Daniel Bryan taking on Big Cass, and this is the first match since Big Cass has been, back from that ACL injury. And, really, we've seen a lot of build to this match, or at least from what they've had, and it's really been about Big Cass talking bad about Daniel Bryan and talking about how he's the big thing and how he should be the one getting the attention, not Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan and his end has not had to do a lot, but now in this match he does. And you got to give him credit. I think they kind of picked some good points in this. I like the idea of, what they had Daniel Bryan coming in here and taking focus on that ACL and that knee. Really trying to chop that down a little bit. Big Cass showed his power in this match, and once again, Daniel Bryan is the underdog, and he's overcoming the odds, and he does in this match. He puts on the crossface and gets Big Cass to tap out, which is, a really positive thing if you're a Daniel Bryan fan. Which it didn't last long, though. Big Cass basically decided to destroy Daniel Bryan after the match and give him a big boot and put him out of commission. I like that, Sean, for the fact that Big Cass, even though he did lose the match, he walks away looking strong, like he's a big heel, like he matters at least, despite losing the match. And of course, the crowd get, Daniel Bryan winning, which they all love.
Yeah, I felt like the crowd wasn't as into this as you think they would, being a Bryan match. But look who he's wrestling. There was even "We want Enzo" chants. It's some point that tells you everything we need to know right there. I thought that, like you said, they played well to the whole injury for Cass, and Bryan does get the win. I was worried that they would do the whole cliche, oh, well, Cass has to win because he's the heel and he's going to win in some cheap fashion and, whatever. And they did have Bryan win. It kind of looks dumb to have him get the heat when he taps out, but it's WWE. They don't always make the most sense. We'll see if anything comes of this for the next 6 weeks, but I just don't know that this is going to do Cass any favors, and we'll see.
Yeah, and, it's kind of an odd situation you put Cass in here because, he's a guy that they have, I think, pinpointed to do some, some things down the line, of course, being such a big guy. And I'm sure they have some, thought processes in the fact that, maybe he needs to get in and get going quick with some of the bigger names on the roster. And it doesn't hurt to go in the ring against a guy like Daniel Bryan. Of course, the people are going to pay attention to that match, right? They're going to really want to see what he has. And hopefully Big Cass gets a little bit of a rub off that. It was not over-inspiring. It wasn't one of those matches that you sit there and say, oh, boy, man, I would love to watch that again. It was just... It was an okay match. I think they did a good job. But you're right. Does it really do Cass any favors by tapping out? I think I would rather seen him hit the ring post or something like that, gets disoriented, and then Daniel Bryan win some other means. Him tapping out kind of makes you feel a little differently about him, but maybe not too much down the line if he can kind of overcome that in some promos and maybe some other things. I think that's why they did the whole thing at the end, right? That was supposed to be the saving grace to show that Cass is tough. He just, had a moment of weakness at that point when he lost to Daniel Bryan. So, who knows? But it is kind of bad. People chanting for Enzo. I mean, my goodness. So,
he's been gone for a while. We're still chanting.
I know. I guess, Big Cass is going to have to win that crowd over some other way. But yes, so there you go. Daniel Bryan will move on, and I'm sure this feud is going to go on for a little while. We know that Daniel Bryan's going to want his revenge, right, after getting beat down, and
right.
That storyline will continue. So once again, another storyline I don't know that I'm sold on, but we'll get more of it, even if I don't want it. So moving on though, let's talk about the WWE SmackDown Women's Champion Charlotte Flair.
Hold on, are we not going to talk about the?
Not Charlotte.
Are we not going to talk about the Elias interrupted concert?
Yes, let's go ahead and talk about that. I was going to talk about the championship match, but oh boy,
that was funny. It was dumb. Yeah. It was absolutely dumb. Total filler time because they had to make this last 3.5 hours, not 3 hours with a 30-minute post show or whatever. It had to be 3.5 hours. So this is your time waste filler thing of the show, and it was fine. It's Elias comes in, he's making fun of New Jersey with Bruce Springsteen, and Big E comes in. He's got a bass drum on. I love it. And Kofi has pancake symbols.
Yes, that's just the greatness.
And New Day want to walk with Elias, but Elias he's a solo artist. He is not here to have multiple people perform with him. Aiden English interrupts, and his voice warms my heart, Aiden English. So I'm all for that. Rusev obviously comes down, we get the Rusev Day chance. No Way Jose shows up. Titus Worldwide is in the conga line, shows you how much they are worthless. And the Fashion Police, sadly, are also in this conga line. And then Bobby Roode appears to do the Glorious DDT. And okay. I mean, again, this is fine. I didn't think it was like, oh my god, laugh my butt off.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know Brandon and some other people thought this was like awesome because anytime the Attitude Era stuff shows up, it's like 10 out of 10 for Brandon. But, it's not always the case. This is one of those times where it absolutely just felt like, okay, we need to kill 20 minutes. Let's come out with all the gimmick dudes. And poor New Day is relegated to that, and Rusev as well, but that's what it is.
Yeah, and it's music themed and all that, and it kind of ties in with Elias, and it's co-branded, so it makes sense and it doesn't, right? It makes sense with the fact that it's got that gimmick going for the music side of things, but it doesn't for the fact that we don't get a match here, and it's just a bunch of kind of talk. It's really all it is. So
it's just Elias telling everybody to shut up multiple times, and then people just interrupting him every time. So
yeah, and I will say the one positive thing is that Bobby Roode does get to look really good here. That makes me happy. I love Bobby Roode. Besides that, though, you're right, Sean. It's
I don't know
just
about
gimmicky,
him dancing though.
Yeah, the guys his age, especially guys in a robe, doesn't work. Bobby, you're getting a little old to be doing that. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Leave that to No Way Jose. He's a little younger. So, and also, he's got those great, moves. So,
yeah, he got the moves.
Yeah. So I mean, you're right, and you know what? That did honestly feel like filler. And I think that's kind of why I forgot about it. To be honest with you, I didn't even have it written down.
Yeah, I felt like just to remind people it happened. I didn't think it was. I honestly, after it was over, I was like, all right, whatever.
Yeah.
Let's move on to this bad Carmella and Charlotte match. And
yeah,
it was bad.
Boy. Yeah. So, I mean, Sean, like we said, this is a SmackDown Women's Championship match, so people are supposed to be excited about it. You have Carmella, the champion. Of course, everybody says, she shouldn't be the champion. Charlotte should be the champion. You get this match, and, it is just not there. There's nothing really, once again, like you said, it is just bad. And I think they tried, and it just did not come off very well. And, Carmella's going to find a way to win. You knew it going into this match, Sean. You knew Charlotte wasn't just getting the belt back. To me, it took away from the match, first of all, because of that reason. And the second is, the match just was not good. I don't know that this does...
Carmella just yells half the time, and she does a few things that are worth talking, like that backbreaker into the STO or whatever, but it was just like, aside from that, I did like the figure 4 into the Code of Silence spot, but really it was just Charlotte walking into stuff, and at any point Carmella was going to win this, and she did.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it makes sense, but, it's just a disappointment because I think Carmella does have some talent. I don't think she's the most talented on this roster, but I think she does have some talent. And I think that those few spots you talked about, they were fine, but there was nothing so over the top here that, you'll be talking about it around the water cooler today. I find myself kind of disappointed because, I think this women's division, especially on SmackDown, was the way they've rearranged things. They could really get some good matches going. This is just not it. And hopefully they can kind of tweak things in the future. Yeah, I think it really just kind of disappointed me that both women's matches here tonight were not up to par where they needed to be. And that's disappointing because it doesn't seem like long ago when we were talking about these championship matches for the women being actually good and exciting, and we want to know what's going to happen.
Charlotte and Asuka was really good.
Mm-hmm.
But then, the rest of it has been what it is. But I mean, I think Carmella, we know what you get out of her. She's more about talking than wrestling. She's been that way. She's gotten a little better, but again, we're also talking about Charlotte, who's not. Charlotte is not a technical master or whatever. She's a freak athlete that can do some really cool stuff, and when you have somebody that can kind of lead her through things, the matches turn out well. Charlotte is not the, signal caller yet. So put her in there with somebody bad like Carmella, it's not going to turn out well. I think what makes Carmella shine is the stuff she did on the post show where she's constantly going around, touting about how she beat Charlotte Flair, ha ha ha, and all this stuff with her character. Like, that stuff I'm fine with. I'm not so, enthused to see her wrestling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you make a great point, Sean. And there's sometimes those people that you have to deal with. The people that really shine on the mic or shine in just being their character, but in the ring, you're just kind of left scratching your head on, is this match even good? Because they don't really do as good of a job as you would kind of expect them to. So I think they should definitely get better. Not saying that. I don't want anybody to think I'm not saying that she won't get better. I think she will. It's just at this moment she's just not, polished. She doesn't have what she needs to get us into that whole, hey, let's talk about stars on your match kind of situation. So,
right.
But yeah, I mean, going forward here, we'll probably see some other big things like you mentioned earlier, Sean, going into, Money in the Bank and everything that kind of comes into that. You'll see a lot of the teases with Carmella since she was a Money in the Bank winner. And a lot of people are trying to say that, they're going to do even better. And so it's going to be a lot of fun to see how this goes forward. But this match itself did not inspire you at all to think that, she's great and really poor Charlotte, so. But yeah, I mean, once again, we'll have to just say, oof. Moving on past this, though, this is maybe another oof moment for us. We have the WWE Championship match, a no disqualification match to be exact, for AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura. There were some moments in this match as well that you could say, okay, I like that, and I think these guys, work well together. But once again, Sean, this match just is how should I just say it? A ball crusher. That's what this match was, hey, I'm going to hit you in the balls. And it seemed like I was watching Jackass at times. I don't know if you felt that way, but that's kind of the way I felt. In fact, this ends a double count out because both guys are laying on the ground holding their balls after kicking each other in the balls.
I think everybody was sort of calling this, this is going to happen. They're going to be down for the count with both of them low blowing each other. I think we should point out that takes a little bit of artistry to be able to, simultaneously low blow each other. That's not something easy to do, especially kicking. It's not even, with your arms, that's a little bit easier to do. But kicking each other right in the same place is a little bit difficult. But still, I think the AJ getting his and getting the low blow Nakamura, I think, was a nice callback to this whole storyline with what Nakamura's been doing. Nakamura hitting that reverse exploder onto the chair was really awesome as well, because AJ got busted open a bit as well. And you know what? For the most part, this match was actually really good. I think it all depends mostly on if that finish really bothers you, then it's going to take it down a notch for you. If you're okay with the finish, or you kind of could see it coming and you understand that it kind of leads into something, it looks like probably, you're going to have some kind of big stipulation match at Money in the Bank between these two, I'd assume. But still, all jokes aside, these two haven't had that classic match I think everybody wants them to have. And that's probably not sitting well with anybody. I know for me, it kind of just sucks that, look, I know New Japan's different, and that was a big event. I think everybody was expecting that kind of match, and normally New Japan doesn't do, shenanigans like that other than people interfering. And WWE's different. They do things like this. So as long as they get to have the one classic match at some point and you have a good finish, I'm okay with this. Nakamura being a heel, I think works right now. So I like his rap theme or whatever that he's got going right now. I think a lot of people are going to be sour on this finish, and I totally understand, but it kind of works in the storyline they've been doing.
It works in the storyline, and I am one of those people that kind of thought, that ending took away from the match. And yes, there were great spots, and like I said, I think there were definitely some worthy times in this match. In fact, I was kind of expecting, as this match went on, for it to be even better. And then when I saw that, and that was the end, I kind of said, I just got no hope. There's no hope at all. And maybe they'll try to give me a little hope later, but right now I'm just like, boy, they just don't care. Or at least I feel like that they don't care. And I know that's not the truth, but it just kind of makes me feel in a sense that, the way that they've been doing things is just not because of the fact that, they want to screw New Japan over by making these guys face each other a bunch of times and not get quality matches. I just don't know. So... but yeah, AJ Styles, stays our champion, and as long as that's the case, it's not a bad thing. Shinsuke Nakamura would be a great champion too, but just the way they're doing this, it seems like they are kind of pushing it back to something else. I can't get over just the constant hitting someone in the balls. Come on. It just kind of gets old after a while. For me, at least. I don't know about anybody else. So.
Yeah.
Well, let's move on past that, and let's go ahead and talk about the next match we have on this card, and it is, of course, the match that I think a lot of people were, want to talk about and try to figure out for the fact that, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, those two guys, doing their thing as always, but they got to face two big monstrosities, Bobby Lashley and the biggest guy in the room, of course, Braun Strowman, and you talk about this match for the fact that, is it really going to be the case where you have Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn just find that sneaky way to beat some of the strongest guys that Raw has to offer? Can they really do it? Well, we learned it wasn't the case. In fact, it kind of hindered the relationship between Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn because Sami wanted to leave. Kevin Owens wanted to stay and fight, caused a rift between those two. That was kind of an interesting part of this whole thing. But not only that, the finish was really interesting to me because they made it out that the legal guy was actually, Kevin Owens. And to me, the last I remember, it was Sami Zayn. And maybe I'm wrong, Sean, but Kevin Owens takes the first pin. And they even talked about it on commentary. Needless to say, Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley win, but I was a little confused at the end.
Yeah, that was what Corey Graves said. Well, they let the non-legal guy win or whatever. You know what? This match was absolute filler. It was there to add the go-between the title match and the main event, which it really didn't need considering how slow the main event was, but we'll get to that in a second. I thought this was kind of more there to see if maybe Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens split up because they've been kind of playing around with that too. That's gone on for a little while. Is Sami kind of getting are they getting tired of each other? Or are they not? They're having way too many miscommunications of one wants to do one thing and one wants to do another. They do that here. I totally felt like this match really didn't even need to happen. Like Lashley, I don't think people care. This was the problem I think that we were discussing when he was going to come over was how quickly is he going to be, forgotten about or not cared about, and that's what it felt like here. Also, the crowd didn't really seem to care that much about this match either. Lastly, winning with a delayed suplex was also kind of weird. He couldn't done a bigger move or anything like that. Just a delayed suplex. All right. And then it's really stupid at the end to have Braun laying out both guys. Like, is that something a face should be doing?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like Vince is just absolutely sabotaging Braun on purpose to try to make sure that Roman, still gets over, that nobody likes anybody but Roman. It's like, dude, you have something with Braun. Stop sabotaging it. Give him a fucking lane and go through it. Like, what is the problem here? How many times does the sign need to be put in front of your face that you have Braun? He's a big dude. He can talk. The fans like him. What else do you want from the man? Like, he's acted in shows before. Like, he could go out and be in the movies. I mean, look, maybe he doesn't have the Roman Reigns, like, beautiful looks or whatever that you want from the guy, but good God, I mean, come on now. Like, this is just dumb to continue to go with this same tired story that you're doing a million times. It ruins stuff like the main event again because you have to push Roman, and you're going to get to the point where Braun's going to be in things and people aren't going to care because they know he's not going anywhere. He's just there. And I think it hurts Lashley too that he's around Braun, and let Lashley do his own thing, and just that just bothered me. This whole stupid 8-minute match bothered me. Like, why did we need to see this again? We've seen it on Raw several times now.
Yeah, I agree with you. And, I look at this just the same way you do. Bobby Lashley, I'm not really thrilled about that delayed suplex. It just does not do anything for me. I wish that they would allow him to do something else as a finisher. I get it. The spear's not going to be his because it's Roman's.
Why can't he do Ron Simmons' old move? He used to do it.
I don't know. That's a great question. I don't get that either. And not only that, of course, I'm still fresh off of remembering Bobby Lashley from, all the TNA, and of course, now they call it Impact. All those
They're
big
hiring,
matches
don't
he's
you know?
I know, right? I love that. But I still remember that Bobby Lashley, and then now we're here, and they're kind of showcasing Bobby Lashley, but not, to that point. And he's just a little different, which I guess he should be, different company. But it's kind of funny to see Bobby Lashley as the guy that's not the hot tag. And I think, some of the things they're doing with him already kind of concern me. But I do like Bobby Lashley. I want to see them let him do more. Let him have a whole feud to himself. Let's not pair him up. Let's just let him do his own thing. Braun Strowman doesn't need anybody else there with him. He can do his own thing. So I think, there's some work to be done there if they really want to have some success with those guys. But yeah, I'm right there with you on everything that took place in this match. Didn't make, a lot of sense for some of the things that they were doing. I like Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Break up, stay together, whatever they do, I'm going to like them. But yeah, I'm still scratching my head on some of this Bobby Lashley stuff. And why the heck, like you said, Sean, why are they trying to sabotage Braun Strowman? He is a hit. He is somebody that everybody cares about. They want to see. And for him to come out in these situations and kind of get put in that place, it makes you kind of wonder. It really, really does. Is that Southern accent too much for Vince? Does he say, I like everything else about the kid, but that accent, it kills me. It makes you wonder. It really does. So, but yeah, that's pretty much that match. Well, let's move on to the main event of this show. Let's talk about Roman Reigns and Samoa Joe. And boy, the crowd loved him some Joe. They let you know. And of course, Roman Reigns getting his normal boos and all the things that come with him and the cheers from the kids and all. Sean, this was a slow match. You said it earlier, just a slow match. We had, let's be honest, a match that looked like we were going to have several times Samoa Joe get the victory. The coquina clutch was used a few times, and towards the end there, it really felt like, oh man, Joe's going to win this match. But, of course, we have Roman Reigns pulling his best John Cena, overcoming all the odds, and getting a big spear to get the victory. It makes sense to me because that's what they want, but it's kind of disappointing, too, at the same time.
It's really disappointing when Joe basically does everything and Reigns is just, fighting back a little bit, and then it gets one spear and it's over, and it's just, listen, we can talk about, I don't want to take anything away from Roman Reigns as far as the dude is a good wrestler. In there with the right guy, he has amazing matches. Joe is another one he could have a great match with. Just this match was not that. It was really, really, really slow because they had to hit a certain time limit. I don't know why, again, on a pay-per-view where they're not pay-per-views anymore, they're freaking network specials. You don't have to hit a certain time limit past the 3 hours. Mm-hmm. Like, I get you have to hit that 3 hour mark because of the pay-per-view time or whatever. But it's just like, it really hurts the shows when you do this. Either way, everything was Joe here. Joe was absolutely dominating. It was slow and it got boring. The crowd started chanting boring. They started chanting F you Roman. I mean, like, it's because you can see the writing on the wall of what's happening in this match. It's all set up so that Roman's going to come back and win. And it's like, people are over it. Like, I think you're starting to get even the people that are Roman fans it's getting old. Like, just, they're booing the dude. It doesn't matter how much you mute the people on the network. He's getting booed. Like, either turn him or do something else with him. But you're still having a main event shows. All this talk about how, they're turning down the Roman Reigns love and all this. Well, not on this show you didn't.
Yeah.
You easily could have had him go second to last and had the WWE title main event. Because at that point, the double low blow count out finish would have been just as okay as the Roman overcoming and winning finish. It's just like, ugh. I don't know. It just leaves an absolute sour taste in your mouth. For a show, and just, I don't know. It doesn't help anyone. It doesn't help them. And they're trying so hard with this Roman story. People aren't buying it. People are not buying it because he's not going through anything other than, okay, well, he's not winning the big one against Brock. Other than that, he's not really suffering at all. He's not, in the third match on the card or whatever. He's still main eventing. There's nothing being taken away from him because of other people. Just all this stuff that he talks about in these promos is a waste of space because it's not happening. So how can anyone buy this story they're trying to tell, much less care about the man?
See, and I think this is where they went wrong, because I think you have Samoa Joe win here. He wins, and he can go on to SmackDown, gloat all day long about how he beat Roman, and, do that, even if he cheats to win and does it. It don't matter. I think for Joe to win, it means a lot for him, and for Roman to lose, and to think about the fact that he lost against Brock, at WrestleMania, and of course at the Greatest Royal Rumble. Now he loses this match. It goes on that journey of, he's losing, and, he needs to find himself, or it makes him angry. It motivates him. See, that's the motivation that I like. I want to see some motivation where I feel like the person is really working towards something, based off of, them, just not being able to get things done, even though they're supposed to. They have it in their back pocket. They just can't reach it. And that's what I felt like would have been a great storyline for Roman going forward, right? For him to be losing matches and not understand why, and to find himself and to do something to maybe make people, change their mind a little bit on Roman. Maybe they start to have sympathy for him. Something like that. Winning here doesn't do just a ton for him. It means that he got a victory against Samoa Joe. I don't know. I don't really think a lot of people are going to be super excited or care too much.
And I think this is a lot. They structured this match so that there was so many times where the fans could have rooted for Roman to get out of that hold or whatever, and it didn't happen. What does that tell you? And like, I don't know what part of the universe you have to go to, Vince, for you to get it. That it's not happening the way you want it, and you gotta let it go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my goodness. It's been apparent for too long that the crowds are not in love with Roman Reigns. Just listen, understand, and adjust. And if that's to make him a heel or to do something else, but, make something happen. Don't just continue to let what is happening go on. I really feel like they need to reconsider some things in that category. So, yeah, I mean, you have Roman getting the big victory, and if you're a Roman Reigns fan, you feel ecstatic. But at the same point, I mean, I do kind of feel bad for what's going to happen with Samoa Joe. Like, is he going to be able to walk and come back in just as tough? Are they going to allow him to win more matches, or is he just there to kind of lose him? I don't know. It almost feels like that at the moment. So. But yeah, I mean, there you go. We'll now have, Roman Reigns, I'm sure, more talk about what it's going to do next. And Samoa Joe is heading off to try to dominate that SmackDown Live roster. So, well, Sean, pretty much all we have left to do is put a rating on this one. So let's go ahead and do that. What did you give this show?
I'm going to do the Bret Hart special, 4 out of 10. Yeah, the Seth Rollins and Miz match, definitely go out of your way to see it. It's a great match. It's going to be on our, match of the week talk or whatever. And everything else, honestly, AJ and Nakamura is good if you want to see it. If you've seen the other matches and you need to continue to see the series, fine. But everything else is absolutely skippable. You can just absolutely miss it. You will lose nothing. Everything else was absolutely just okay for a 2-match show or maybe a 1.5 match show, whatever you want to say there. I think going Bret Hart special is generous enough, I think.
I think you're right, and I wanted to be more generous, but I think you're spot on here, Sean. I'll do 4 out of 10 as well. For everything you said, and for the fact that watching this show tonight did not really get me excited. I really like the pay-per-views where you get on and you get excited about the next match. Really, some of these matches, I was just like, I kind of know what's going to happen, or it's just this one's just throwing at us, just to throw it at us. It really kind of bums you out when they do that, and it really did not make me walk away thinking very highly of what happened. And not only that, I mean, going forward, I think after this whole pay-per-view, I'm just more excited about what could happen differently instead of what's happening now just because of what we saw. So let's just see how they do go on and from this and move on. But yeah, I mean, Sean and I are definitely on that Bret Hart special. So. Well, we are done. We had a lot of fun here tonight. This is a great review, of course, just because we get to hang out and just talk about it. But we want to make sure you also don't forget to go check out that other great review we mentioned earlier. So please go to W2M Network, subscribe, rate, and review. And once you do that, come check out not only all the other great podcasts that we have, but also some of the great content that our friends that are on the W2M Network have to offer. Please go and just search them out, check it out. If you want more wrestling, we got it. If you want sports, video games, or entertainment, they're all there. W2Mnet.com. Don't forget to go visit there because you'll get more content. You'll have an opportunity to see the wide array of everything that we have to offer over at the W2M Network. Make sure you also give some love to our friends over at 411mania.com and LastRunProWrestling.com. Both great sites. We appreciate them for all the support they give us. And, of course, make sure you come and check us out this week. Of course, there'll be another great Raw review for you following this big Backlash 2018 pay-per-view, along with the SmackDown Live show and a 205 Live. And hopefully this week I'm looking forward to possibly be getting back into some NXT. doing that review show again would be a lot of fun. So we're looking forward to all that content. Plus, we're really hoping to do an episode of Wrestling to the Max this week, Sean. I know the things have been crazy. We'll explain everything, all the craziness that's happened around us and why the shows have not been there for the W2M. We'll get all this week, hopefully, and give people a little bit of, maybe a little bit of personal stuff. And, of course, we'll talk wrestling and get you updated on the big news that's following Backlash. So, well, there you go. We appreciate you guys joining us. Until next time, I am Gary Vaughan. He is Sean Garmer, and we will catch you guys down the road.
Later, everybody.